One thing I particularly like about motor caravanning is the fact that it's a pastime that isn't just restricted to able-bodied enthusiasts. It's also something which people with disabilities can enjoy, either maybe as passengers in a motorhome, or possibly people who can actually drive it as well because the controls are adapted too. And that is the case here because there are companies across the UK that carry out conversions. And I'm in Milton Keynes at Young Conversions because they designed and built this particular one, which from the outside looks just like any ordinary motorhome. But I promise you, it isn't a conventional one. For instance, the door opens like magic without any need for push and pull. And similarly, if you've got a wheelchair and you didn't just want a ramp because that necessitates somebody to push you up the ramp, this particular one has a lifting mechanism because the person who wanted this motorhome needed to use it to drive to work without somebody coming with him to help. But hang on, how's this happening? I'm not the magician pressing all the buttons. Well, the person making this work is Mike Young, who designed this particular vehicle, who also built it, and he's with me right now. Hello, Mike, it's good to see you.
Hi, John.
What I want to know is, because everybody's requirement is different and specific to their own needs, what was the brief from this person who wanted you to build this for him?
Well, this particular client was wheelchair bound, and he wanted a vehicle that was both an everyday vehicle for getting back and forward to work, but also a leisure vehicle that he could share with his wife and members of his family. The first issue was to make sure that he could handle the vehicle, access it on his own without assistance. And so we installed this remote controlled lift and a remote controlled sliding door, which are all controlled by this panel here. Once he was in the vehicle, we needed enough room for him to maneuver his wheelchair, be able to turn it round and get in position to get into the driver's seat. The driver's seat was adapted so that it went up and down, back and forward, and swiveled, all by electrical means. And so this enabled him to get from his wheelchair to the driver's seat unaided, to swivel himself round into the driving position where he had hand controls to control the vehicle. The vehicle was also automatic. On the leisure side, we installed a bed seat configuration in the back, which allowed two people to travel with seat belts, but also allowed a double bed for him and his wife to be able to sleep. But he didn't need cooking facilities because they weren't going to do any long-term camping in it. It was really a day van. And so he didn't need a cooker. So we installed a water supply and a sink. And he used a camping cooker to make a cup of tea, that sort of thing. And basically, that was the criteria that he laid down for the design and build of this conversion.
Well, that's very revealing, and I've learnt a lot in the process. And I have to say, I do see many motorhomes, but I've never ever seen one which embraces so much wonderful technology. On the other hand, don't presume that this is the standard that you build to. It's a bespoke one, it's for one particular client. Bear in mind that small-scale converters like Young Conversions can build for any kind of disability needs. And with that knowledge, it's great, isn't it? Because motor caravanning is actually far more accessible for far more people than you could ever imagine.